It was supposed to be a routine flight. Passengers boarded the plane with the usual mix of excitement and routine, some looking forward to their destinations, others simply enduring another business trip. The crew went through their pre-flight checks, ensuring everything was in order for the journey ahead. On January 5, 2024, Alaska Airlines Flight 1282 took off from Portland, Oregon, with 177 people on board. The aircraft, a Boeing 737 MAX 9, was one of the newest in the fleet, promising a smooth and efficient flight to its destination. Minutes after takeoff, a deafening bang shattered the calm. The sound was so loud that it jolted everyone out of their seats, and the cabin was filled with gasps and cries of alarm. Passengers looked around in confusion, trying to understand what had just happened. A door plug, a panel meant to seal an unused exit, blew off the side of the new Boeing 737 MAX 9. This was not just a minor malfunction, it was a catastrophic failure that compromised the integrity of the aircraft. Instantly, a gaping hole exposed passengers to the freezing wind and chaos. The sudden decompression caused a whirlwind of papers, personal items, and even clothing to be sucked out of the plane. The temperature in the cabin plummeted, adding to the terror of the situation. Oxygen masks dropped as the cabin depressurized, sucking out loose items and even a passenger's shirt. The sight of the masks dangling in front of them was a stark reminder of the gravity of the situation. Passengers scrambled to put them on, their hands shaking with fear. Panic erupted, but the flight crew acted fast, guiding the plane into an emergency descent. The pilots communicated calmly and clearly, reassuring passengers that they were in control and taking the necessary steps to ensure their safety. Miraculously, the pilots landed safely back in Portland. No one was seriously hurt. Emergency vehicles were already waiting on the runway, ready to assist as the shaken passengers disembarked. Relief washed over everyone as they realized they had survived a near disaster. The seat next to the blowout was empty, a stroke of luck that likely saved a life. Had someone been sitting there, the outcome could have been tragically different. This small detail underscored just how fortunate they had been. Relief quickly turned to alarm. How could a brand new plane lose a panel mid-flight? This incident raised serious questions about the safety and reliability of the Boeing 737 MAX 9, a model that had already been under scrutiny for other issues. This wasn't old metal fatigue, it was a catastrophic failure on a state-of-the-art jet. The aviation community was stunned. How could such a critical component fail on a plane that was supposed to represent the pinnacle of modern engineering? The incident sent shockwaves through aviation, putting Boeing under intense scrutiny. The company faced a barrage of questions from regulators, airlines, and the public. Everyone wanted to know how this could happen and what steps would be taken to prevent it from happening again. It exposed deep problems that had been festering for years. Issues that had been overlooked or ignored in the rush to get new models to market were now coming to light. The industry was forced to take a hard look at its practices and priorities. The world watched as Boeing faced a crisis that went far beyond a single flight. This was a moment of reckoning for the entire aviation industry, a wake-up call that highlighted the need for rigorous safety standards and accountability. The Alaska Airlines blowout was a wake-up call. Something was fundamentally broken. It was a stark reminder that even the most advanced technology is not infallible, and that the safety of passengers must always come first. Investigators quickly zeroed in on the root cause of the terrifying incident. 4 critical bolts, designed to secure the door plug in place, were completely missing. These bolts weren't just another set of fasteners, they were the only thing standing between the pressurized cabin and the outside world at 30,000 feet. Their absence set the stage for disaster. Without these bolts, the door plug was left dangerously vulnerable. As the aircraft climbed and the pressure inside the cabin increased, the panel was doomed to fail. The immense force of pressurization, which the bolts were meant to resist, became an unstoppable threat. It was only a matter of time before the plug would give way, risking the lives of everyone on board. The NTSB's investigation traced the error back to Boeing's Renton factory. Shockingly, they confirmed that the bolts had never been installed during assembly. This wasn't a case of bolts coming loose in flight or being damaged over time. They simply weren't there from the start. The door plug had been removed for repairs, a routine maintenance procedure. But during reassembly, the most crucial step, reinstalling the bolts, was missed entirely. This oversight turned a standard repair into a catastrophic risk. Even more alarming, there were no records documenting this vital work. Maintenance logs and checklists, which are supposed to ensure every step is completed, were either incomplete or missing altogether. The paper trail simply vanished. This wasn't a complex engineering flaw or a sophisticated technical failure. It was a basic, almost unthinkable procedural error, a simple step skipped, with devastating consequences, the kind of mistake that should have been caught long before the plane ever left the ground. Yet, the multiple layers of quality control and inspection, designed to catch such mistakes, all failed. The safety nets that should have protected passengers and crew simply didn't work. In the aftermath, airlines around the world grounded their 737 MAX 9 fleets. Inspections uncovered even more loose hardware and quality issues, raising urgent questions about the safety of these jets and the processes behind their assembly. The missing bolts quickly became a powerful symbol, a sign of a company that had lost its way, where even the most basic safety steps were overlooked. In the end, trust in Boeing's once legendary safety culture was shattered, leaving the entire aviation industry to grapple with the consequences of a simple but deadly mistake. Whistleblowers inside Boeing's factories began to speak out. Sam Mohawk, a quality inspector, revealed that defective parts were sometimes used to keep production moving. John Barnett, a former quality manager, alleged that substandard parts and faulty oxygen systems were knowingly installed. Workers described retaliation for raising safety concerns. A Senate investigation found Boeing had cut many quality inspector jobs, leaving mechanics to self-inspect under pressure. The result, a culture where speed trumped safety and mistakes were hidden, not fixed. At the heart of Boeing's crisis was a culture obsessed with speed and cost-cutting. The company's leadership believed that staying ahead of competitors meant pushing the limits of efficiency, no matter the consequences. Every minute saved on the assembly line was seen as a victory, and every dollar trimmed from the budget was celebrated. But beneath the surface, this relentless pursuit of speed began to erode the very foundation of safety and quality that Boeing was once known for. After merging with McDonnell Douglas in 1997, Boeing's focus shifted dramatically. No longer was engineering excellence the top priority. Instead, the company became fixated on maximizing shareholder value and pleasing Wall Street. Decisions were increasingly made by executives with financial backgrounds, rather than those with deep experience in aviation or engineering. This shift in mindset rippled through every level of the organization. Managers pushed aggressive delivery schedules, pressuring workers to meet quotas at any cost. The message was clear: delays were unacceptable, and falling behind meant risking your job. Employees were expected to keep the production lines moving, even if it meant cutting corners or skipping important steps. Raising safety concerns was discouraged. Employees feared retaliation. Many workers felt trapped, knowing that speaking up about potential hazards could lead to being sidelined or even losing their jobs. The culture of fear stifled open communication and made it nearly impossible to address problems before they became critical. Quality checks were slashed, and mechanics were forced to self-inspect their work. Instead of having independent inspectors verify each step, workers were now responsible for policing themselves. An impossible task under constant time pressure. This led to mistakes being overlooked and defects slipping through the cracks. The relentless drive for speed made shortcuts inevitable. As deadlines loomed, workers had little choice but to rush through tasks, sometimes skipping essential procedures just to keep up. The pressure to deliver on time overshadowed the need to do things right. The missing bolts on Flight 1282 weren't a fluke, they were the product of a broken system. Each overlooked detail, each unchecked step, was a symptom of a deeper problem. A company that had lost sight of its core mission to build safe, reliable airplanes. In aviation, when safety takes a back seat, disaster is only a matter of time. The consequences of neglecting safety protocols can be catastrophic, not just for the company, but for everyone who steps onto one of its planes. The Alaska Airlines blowout triggered a swift response from regulators. The FAA grounded 171 Boeing 737 MAX 9 jets and capped production until Boeing could prove its processes were safe. The Department of Justice launched a criminal investigation, citing a breach of Boeing's previous agreement after the MAX crashes. Federal prosecutors recommended criminal charges. The NTSB held public hearings, exposing Boeing's inability to provide key repair records. a federal judge rejected a lenient plea deal demanding real accountability. Boeing now faced intense scrutiny on all fronts. Regulators demanded proof, not promises, that safety would come first. As investigations mounted, Boeing's workers reached a breaking point. In September 2024, 33,000 machinists went on strike in Washington and Oregon. Their fight wasn't just about pay, it was about restoring quality and safety. Workers described relentless pressure to rush jobs and fear of retaliation for flagging defects. The strike halted production, disrupting airlines worldwide. After nearly 2 months, workers won a new contract with major gains. But the real victory was forcing Boeing to confront its toxic culture. The strike sent a clear message. Workers demanded respect and a return to safety-first values. Boeing's future depended on listening. The cascade of crises forced a leadership shakeup. CEO Dave Calhoun and other top executives stepped down. In July 2024, Boeing named Kelly Ortberg, a respected aerospace leader, as the new CEO. Ortberg's challenge rebuild trust with regulators, airlines, workers, and the public. His first test was ending the machinist strike, a critical step, but only the beginning. Ortberg must overhaul Boeing's culture, reward safety, and hold managers accountable. The company's future now rests on his ability to deliver real change. Boeing's reputation and the safety of millions hangs in the balance. Boeing's troubles rippled across the global aviation industry. Airlines like United and Southwest were forced to cut routes and pause hiring as new jets failed to arrive. United asked pilots to take unpaid leave. Southwest froze hiring. Boeing's own losses soared, $6 billion in one quarter, a 30% stock drop, and 17,000 job cuts. The launch of the 777X was delayed again. Technical failures plagued Boeing's space division, and a crash in South Korea deepened the crisis. Factory mistakes in Renton led to global disruption. Boeing's internal failures had become an industry-wide emergency. Boeing faces its greatest challenge yet, regaining trust. Fixing production isn't enough. The company must rebuild its culture from the top down. Safety and quality must come before speed and profit. Every worker must be empowered to stop production if something's wrong. Regulators must keep up the pressure until Boeing proves it's changed. The world is watching to see if Boeing can earn back its reputation. The journey will be long and turbulent. Only a true commitment to safety will get Boeing back in the air.